Hello everybody. Do a quick little video of this bench that I made. So this design of the bench, actually my grandfather used to build these, and the last one that was around kind of bit the dust. It rotted out. So anyways, I took that one and got all the dimensions off of it and kind of did some measurements and drew up some little plans so that I could remake kind of the same style benches that he used to make. So anyways, just a quick walk around of it, and I'm going to switch over and show you kind of when I almost had it put together before I painted it, show you a few things, how I put it together, and a few other things. So okay, so here we are. It's almost all put together, but just wanted to cover, this is a good spot I think to kind of go over everything that I've done, how I've kind of put it together, and then what all tools I've used to do it. So yeah, we'll start with that first. We'll go over the tools. So I've got them laid out here. It hasn't looked this good while I've been working on it, but I did lay everything out just to show you guys what I've been using. So I've got a set of drills, a few different drills. I've got one with the pilot kind of drill for the screws. Then I've got one with the counter boards, just a bigger drill bit. I think this is a 3/8. And then I've kind of hobbled together a stop for my depth there. And then I've been using the impact to put in the screws. I don't always necessarily want to use the impact to put in screws. Sometimes I'd rather use the drill, but I don't have another drill and I don't feel like changing all the bits over. So this works nice if you have this many, because you don't have to change anything. But if you don't, one would work fine. Clamps, used quite a few clamps. Not a whole lot, but just kind of hold stuff together, mock stuff up. Got a couple squares here that I've used just to square stuff up. I use this one the most. This one's used a little bit. I've got a couple levels, didn't use them a ton, mostly just marking long lines and things like that. Of course, tape measure. That's pretty much all the hand tools that I've used. So some of the power tools, my jigsaw here, I've used for all the cuts that weren't straight or at a specific angle. So for all this stuff up here, these here, the little dog ear pieces there on the side, all cut with this, and then I used my belt sander, the belt and disc sander combo there to smooth them out. I got my miter saw that I used for all the simple angles. I used the table saw a little bit, mostly for ripping a few of the boards, which I'll cover here in a second. And then down here on the end of the table saw, I've got my router. I used that for the corners. Again, that wasn't necessarily needed, but routed them before I put it together. That way I don't have to go back and smooth everything out. I'm gonna have to go back anyways with I've got a hand sander, like a vibratory sander and a orbital DA sander, or just by hand, go back and touch a lot of these things up that I couldn't get before putting it together with that. So anyways, that's pretty much all the tools I used. Nothing too out of the ordinary, mostly kind of simple shop tools and a few power tools, but not much. The materials that I used, so I've got glue sitting here. I've got a couple screws, a couple different sizes of screws. Mainly these 2.5 inch is what I used 95% of the time. I did have to get some 3.5 inch screws as well, and these are like deck screw type screws, outdoor. But I'll show you where I use these. But pretty much for everything I use these, attaching all of these joints, pretty much the 2.5 inch. The only area that I used those 3.5 inch screws on were these dog ears here, and I'll show you those in just a second. The other material, of course, that I had to buy was 2x6s. So I used 7 8-foot 2x6s, all treated, for this project. I could have got away, or I say I could have got away. I should have only had to buy 6. If all the wood was good and usable. But I had a lot of pieces like this that had big knots and stuff in it that I had to cut around. So I ended up wasting some, which is probably pretty typical. if you were to get some, you know, some better grade wood, this is just like a #2 pine. If you'd got #1 or, you know, something real fancy, maybe could have got away with less lumber. But anyways, that's what I ended up using. So real quick to just go over the build itself. Again, I'm not showing cutting every piece, sanding every piece, anything like that. I'm just showing the major things, putting it together. Again, for cutting it, I just used the dimensions that I had, nothing special or fancy. A lot of these other pieces, like for instance, this top piece up here, I have kind of some general dimensions there. Distances to like the low parts, the peaks. And so I went through and marked them all out. You can probably see the marks. So I got a mark there. And then I just drew on with pencil by hand and cut it out with my jigsaw, then took it over with a sander and sanded it smooth. So nothing, you know, nothing precision. Same thing with these dog ears. I drew it out by hand. And when I had two pieces, like this one and this one, I did one, and then I used that one as a template for the other one. So anyways, pretty simple stuff. So anyways, the first thing I did on this was build the base. So this bottom base along here, along the bottom. I built that on the concrete floor to make sure it was all nice and level. Of course, you know, the boards are going to warp a little bit, and you can't get it perfect, but as good as I could get, I built it on the floor. And then I've got 3 screws on each of the 4 corners. So going in here. One thing I don't have in here is a center support, and I'm gonna put that in. But I built 2 of the edge supports and didn't cut the 3rd one immediately. And then I ran out of wood and I had to go get another board for some other pieces. So I still haven't cut that one, but I'm gonna put it in. Right here in the center, basically the same thing. And again, that'll be 3 screws, and then I'll be able to screw down these seat boards the same as I did over here. I'll cover that I'll show that real quick. The holes themselves, again, I used like a pilot and then a counter bore type. And what I'm gonna do is I have this dowel rod. I'm gonna go through and fill all these with that dowel, you know, glue the little piece of a dowel, put it in here, cut it off, sand it smooth, just to kind of cover those up and make it look nice. There are some underneath here, like on the other side. I've already done that. I put the dowel in, glued in little buttons, and same thing up here. So as I go, I'm doing those, and then the ones that are left over, I'll just do at the end. But anyways, I built the base first, got it nice and level, as good as I could get. And then I set it up here on the sawhorses, and I put the seat boards on. So it's these 4, there's 3 2x6s, and then one, this is actually like 2.5-ish. So it's a ripped 2x6. So whatever half of 5.5 is. So 2 3/4, I guess. The only reason I did that is because that's how the original one was. You know, when I looked at it, I measured these boards here and here. They were not 2x4s, they were ripped 2x6s. So I just did the same thing, and it made it easy getting all the same lumber. So that's mainly what I used my table saw for, was just to rip those. So anyways, got the base done, put these boards on. And then the next thing I did was I built, so from this upright post here to this one, and then the boards in between. I built that all together, you know, separately, just off of this, off on the floor again. The reason I did it on the floor is because I had, you know, there's a little bit of a setback here. It's a 1/2 inch. So I laid these on the floor, you know, both of those uprights. And then I had a little piece of scrap, 1/2 inch drywall that I put underneath the board. And then I went through and attached screws in the side and just kind of made sure it was nice and level and square. So I built this off on the floor, and then I went back and attached it. So let's see, we'll go around here. The first thing I did was kind of get it centered along the base here. So make sure these were, you know, equal distance off the edge. Again, I glued everything and screwed everything. So here, what I did to attach these was I went underneath, one right here on the back, ran a screw up through here, and then the other two, let's see if there's enough light in here. Yeah, there's the other two, so right inside. So here's the back wall, and then here's the seat board. 2 screws right up through into this piece to attach that. So I did that on both sides. So then this was attached. Next thing was to put these, I don't know, I'm gonna call them dog ears. That's what I've been calling them. Put these dog ears on. So one thing for these dog ears, so you can see a screw here, and then I've got 2 down here. So I've got 4 total, and of course it was glued. But I put these on, so this was attached to the base, and I kind of just set this up here, put a couple clamps to hold it, and drilled it, glued it, drilled it, and it was good. So here and here, and 2 on the other side is where I use those long 3.5-inch screws. The reason for that was when I attached this piece between these 2 uprights, I had 2 screws, one here and one here, ish. And so if I would have tried to put this one in, it ran into the other screw. So what I did was I took that one out and then just ran a new screw through the entire length of this, so it goes all the way over to here, somewhere in here. Same thing down here, I ran it through these 3 pieces. So that's where I needed the longer screws. That's the only place I've needed them so far. So yeah, once I had those attached, then I can start putting the arms on. I've got this one on. Those 2 over there are still not attached yet. So what I did here, basically cut my angle, and I did have to go back and fiddle with this. This wasn't exactly the 10 degrees that I needed. I had cut these before, cut them at 10 degrees, and they were slightly off, so I had to go back and cut them at, I don't know, 9 degrees or something like that, I think is what it ended up being, where they fit a little bit better. And you can still see a tiny gap down there, but not too worried about it. But those are just screwed in through the back here. Just 2 screws. I may try to get one underneath. The problem is this, the base here is directly underneath where these arms go. And so if I do something, I'll have to go in at a bit of an angle. If I do that, I'll probably go in from the inside of this and go back out this way. The only reason for doing that is it kind of hides any screws, and if I mess something up, it'll be on the inside instead of the outside. Then the other thing is putting this on. This is gonna be a little difficult too. Not entirely sure I'm gonna do it yet. Probably from the bottom. Again, going in at an angle. I've even thought about maybe doing some pocket screws kind of this way to attach to here. So attach this one to here, then maybe put a screw or 2 in the bottom and call it good. But that one's still up in the air. Haven't decided what I'm gonna do there yet. But yeah, that's about it. I think everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Now, I will say, again, I'm not a woodworking guy, not an expert. So a lot of the things I did could be wrong. Maybe they're good. Maybe some of them aren't so good. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's the first time I'm building this. I'll see how it holds up. You know, if after a couple years the arms fall off, I'll know I did a bad job there. But this isn't instructing you the proper way to do it, just showing you how I did it. So anyways, that's pretty much it. All right, so here's the little plans I drew up. I'll flip through these real quick, but that's kind of the overall dimensions. That's the base. You can see right here. Originally had 2 of these, it's actually 3. So for the base, there's two of these little support short pieces on each side, and then 1 in the middle. That's kind of the dimensions for the seat and the arm. And then the last one here is going to be the back. So kind of the back support. all of that there. So there's the plans, the dimensions. Just real quick, I'll touch this color that I used is early American 230, and then the clear coat that I put on was this Helsman outdoor furniture. I did the semi-gloss, you know, since this is going to be outside. But anyways, a few things. Just going over this, you know, I should have took more time kind of sanding and prepping before I stained it. And like right here, you can see, you know, there was some, this is probably where the wood was originally strapped. I sanded it all down, thought I got it all out. As soon as you put the stain on, it lights up like a Christmas tree. So there's some flaws here and there, kind of some more right down here, some scratches that I didn't get sanded out. So again, as soon as I put the stain on, they lit up. But overall, it turned out pretty good. Again, it's going to be an outdoor bench. Doesn't have to be perfect. The main thing was, again, just getting it kind of designed or built, copy the design, that the original design, and then actually build one and see how it went. So anyways, thanks for watching.